Good afternoon. We're delighted to see you, and couldn't have a better way to start this off than our cheerleaders. Thank you, young ladies, for joining us and getting us started with such a rousing opening to all of this. My name is Bob King. I'm the president of the Council on Post-Secondary Education, and delighted to welcome you all to our second annual Transfer Madness College Fair. In addition to the distinguished speakers who you will hear from shortly, I just want to recognize some distinguished guests who are with us. First, the Lieutenant Governor, Jerry Abramson. Delighted to have you. Senator Mike Wilson, who's the chair of the Committee on Education in the Senate. Representative Jim Glenn, I think I saw you come in. Are you here still? Did he leave? He left. And Representative Tom McKee, did he stay? Yeah, he's here, or he left? He left. But in addition, we've got a bunch of community and technical college presidents. We're delighted to have you here with us as well. As you know, Kentucky absolutely loves its basketball, and we have been blessed, in case you missed it, over the last 2 years to be the home for the last two national champions in Division I, some little school over in Louisville and another one over in Lexington. And hopefully one of them at least will get back to the Final Four and maybe the championship again. But we love basketball, and our colleges and universities, in sponsoring Transfer Madness, thought that this would be a nice way to capitalize on this other stuff called March Madness, but keeping in mind that we're just as excited about educational excellence as we are basketball excellence. Transfer Madness this year is going to be held on Wednesday, March the 5th, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. if you're in the Eastern Time Zone, and 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. in the Central. And the purpose is to connect potential KCTCS transfer students as well as others interested in transferring credits or associate degrees to four-year institutions in Kentucky, both public and private. Our campuses have stepped up in a big way to smooth the transfer process by creating clear pathways from associate degrees to bachelor's degrees. And these pathways will save students time and money, and Transfer Madness will help them develop a winning transfer game plan. If you're like me, you might be wondering, how does all this work in an online venue? Because that's what this is. It is essentially an online college fair. It starts today with students being able to register at Transfer Madness, one word, transfermadness.org. And then on March the 5th, which is the day of all of this activity, students who have registered will be able to select as many virtual campus booths as they want to attend. And this year, as I said, there will be all of our public universities and 15 of our private and independent colleges that will be participating. They will be able to have live chat with transfer advisors at the participating institutions. They'll be able to see how their courses will transfer and count as credit toward their degree on the knowhowtotransfer.org website. It's another long word, knowhow2transfer.org. But that really now is an electronic mapping system, essentially, that will allow a student who is in attendance at any one of our community and technical colleges, and who knows where they want to transfer and what degree they seek, to actually see what courses they have to take to make sure that they're all transferable, what grades they might have to earn in order to get into a particular program, and have it right there so that it provides clear understanding of what they need to do to have a successful transfer. It will also provide scholarship information, financial aid information, as well as registration for prizes. And all of the information they get will be able to be downloaded so that it can be retained and then used in future weeks and months. I was told earlier today, by the way, that Kentucky is the only state that has a whole transfer effort like this, or a whole college fair effort like this devoted to students who intend to transfer. And to the staff at KCTCS and in our office, this is great work, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for that. It's now my pleasure to invite here to speak and to introduce the governor of this state, Steve Beshear. Governor Beshear has been a champion of Kentucky's people and a long-standing advocate of education at all levels. During his 2 terms, Governor Beshear has advanced Kentucky as a leader in job creation and education reform, and the two tend to go together, as we all know. With initiatives spanning from early childhood education in kindergarten to college and career readiness, Governor Beshear has demonstrated a commitment to improving education for all Kentuckians. He's been a great and strong advocate of implementation of Common Core standards. He has spearheaded the successful push to raise Kentucky's dropout age from 16 to 18, and the governor has signed legislation that made Kentucky a national model for post-secondary transfer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the governor of our state, Stephen Beshear.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. First of all, Frankfort High, thank you. Let's give them a round of applause. You know, Advocacy Day is an exciting day for the Kentucky community and technical college system. But what makes this day so important is how it complements our continuing efforts to build a stronger Kentucky. Much of my administration's emphasis has been on creating a healthier and more educated workforce as a way to grow this state's economy. Nothing will help us attract new jobs and maintain the ones we already have more than a talented, highly trained, highly educated, energetic, and healthy workforce. And as we all know, the key to all of that is education. When Kentuckians earn a college education, their skills improve, their wages go up, and they are more likely to lead healthy lives and build better future for themselves and for their families. By 2020, 56% of Kentucky's jobs will require some level of post-secondary education. And within the next decade, it is anticipated many working bachelor degree holders, the so-called baby boomers, will retire. Unfortunately, right now, we don't have enough potential college students in the K-12 pipeline to meet future employer demand. We've got to do something, and we are doing something. Our strategy includes improving the skills of our associate degree holders to prepare them for this changing job market. And that's why a seamless transfer process is so important. We've worked hard to create a transfer-friendly post-secondary education system. As Mr. King mentioned, in 2010, I signed into law House Bill 160, which made higher education more attainable by making it easier to transfer credits from a community or technical college to any of Kentucky's four-year universities. And another fellow you're going to hear from here today, Carl Rollins, as a state representative, was the prime sponsor of that legislation, and we need to give him a round of applause for that right now. Carl, thank you. Folks, over the past 5 years, since we passed that law, there's been an almost 30% increase in KCTCS transfers to public and private institutions. This is a group effort, and our institutions are doing a fantastic job and doing fantastic things to help Kentucky meet its educational goals through transfer, including things like transfer scholarships, priority admission, degree pathways, and the know-how to transfer website, which is a one-stop shop for all transfer information. The Transfer Madness event demonstrates how Kentucky's institutions, not only our community colleges, but also our state universities, our private liberal arts colleges, and for-profits, are committed to working together in innovative and efficient ways to enhance the educational opportunities of students in every corner of the Commonwealth. That's why I have here today a proclamation declaring March the 5th, 2014 as Transfer Madness Day in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And I would like to ask President King to come up and let me present this proclamation to him.
Thank you, sir.
To each and every one of you, thanks for being part of this team effort. Because, as any coach will tell you, individual players score points. It takes a team to win the ball game. So again, thank you and congratulations.
Our next speaker is my good friend and now a agency or department head colleague, Carl Rollins. But as the governor said to you, Carl was the prime sponsor of House Bill 160, which really helped map out the processes and the relationships that needed to be built to facilitate the expansion of transfer opportunities for students across the Commonwealth. He is now serving as the CEO of the Higher Education Assistance Authority and the Higher Education Student Loan Corporation. And although he has left the legislature, in keeping with the lingo of the day, he is still in the game. So, Carl, please come and join us and share a few words.
Thank you, President King. I had sworn that I was going to dunk on Bob, but there's no goal, so. And plus I can't jump about that high. It was an honor to be able to be the sponsor of House Bill 160 in 2010. The home office of KCTCS is in my district, but I want to give you just a little bit of the reasoning why it was so important. With the cost of higher education continuing to climb, we were looking for a way for students to start at the community college level, stay close to home, be able to keep their maybe part-time jobs or work while they went to school, and then transfer. But the problem was, up until that time, that students were losing a good deal of hours when they transferred from our community colleges to the four-year schools. There was, at that time, a lack of communication between the four-year schools and the two-year schools. So the legislation actually brought them together and found a way, not focusing on course numbers, but on the course content and the knowledge gained from the different courses, to then create clearly defined pathways to a four-year degree so that students could start at a much lower cost community college and then go on and work on their four-year degree without losing any credits. That's the whole emphasis behind it. I'm glad it sounds like it's been very successful. It's one of those things that we need to continue to work on every year to keep it updated, to continue to create those clearly defined pathways to a four-year degree. And that takes the work of both our community colleges and our four-year schools, both private and public. And I commend all of the people and the faculty and staffs who have worked on those, and thank you for your effort on behalf of our students, because that's what helps. Thank you.
Carl, thanks so much. There's one other guest I want to introduce. He's actually one of my bosses. He's the vice chair of the Council on Post-Secondary Education, the organization for whom I work, Dan Flanagan. Dan, we're so glad you could join us. The next speaker, he will be responsible for introducing these superstars to my far right over here, is Mike McCall. Mike, as you know, has been KCTCS only president, and through his leadership, he has taken what was a newly created system back in 1997 and turned it into one of the most respected and admired community and technical college systems in the country. And I say that not just because I'm standing here, but because when I go to national conferences and meet with colleagues that do the same kind of work that I do, they're constantly asking about KCTCS. What are they doing now? We want to learn. He has been a great leader and a dear friend. Please welcome the right guard, the point guard of this team, Mike McCall.
Well, thank you, Bob. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and first want to thank the governor for your continued support of higher education and what our community colleges are doing and the importance of what it does for this Commonwealth of Kentucky. And Dr. Rollins, thank you for the House Bill 160 was one of the hallmarks, quite honestly, and we're just so delighted that he was sponsoring that, and now it is putting into action as well. And certainly, Senator, thank you for being here. Lieutenant Governor, as always, it's great to see you as part of education and how you support it and what you do as well. And a special thanks to the students that you're getting ready to hear from in just a minute for all that they do to talk to you a little bit about transfer and the importance of what it is for them as well. Because, you know, it really is kind of an exciting time for us right now, and I thought it was very creative that when they thought about this is transfer madness. As we enter into March in just a couple of days, it's an exciting time for all of us, but especially here in Kentucky, because we have a strong affinity for the outcomes of what we want to see at the end of March and early April for us as well. So it's an exciting time for us. And so this excitement transfers over as part of my team, our team as well. And I want to really recognize the 16, I have 16 college presidents who are with us. These represent all 16 of our colleges. Each of them are here today, so thank you for being here. You know, our mission at KCTCS is to give our students a successful game, and that's really what we want them to do, to come into our institutions and to be successful. To be successful, whether they're going straight into the workforce or a very important part is being successful as a transfer from one of our 16 colleges to one of the universities, whether it be public or private, within Kentucky as well. All of these students are important to us, and they represent the many students who are transferring and what they do for our students across the system as well. And as you hear about KCTCS, our tagline simply has been, higher education begins here, because that's where so many Kentuckians begin their education. Nearly half of all Kentuckians begin their education at one of our 16 colleges across the state. And that's an important fact, an important part of the history of what we're doing as well. But what we're doing is joining our team, our other part of the team, and that's our four-year colleagues. To enable our students, we're very concerned to make sure that they have this transfer opportunity as well. This transfer madness concept of what we do is very unique. As President King talked about a minute ago, it's the only state in the nation that's doing it. And I would urge you, if you haven't seen that website, it's neat. I mean, it's just a great website to go into, because it looks like you walk into a booth of one of the colleges. And to have that listed out for you, this is what you need to take, and this is what you need to do at this institution to transfer over here. If you need to go over here, this is what you need to do. These are the programs that are offered. It's a great portal into all of higher education in Kentucky, and to have all of our universities, public especially, but so many of the privates be part of it, it's very critical for us as well. You know, we hear it often that it's cost for students. You know, is it too much? But what we provide to them is not only the cost of an education, but a quality of education that will enhance what they do as well. And that's what's so important for what we are able to do within KCTCS as well. You know, to use a sports analogy, I think one of the most beautiful plays is the alley-oop. I've always loved and watched that. But you know, when you see it, it just happens so fast, but it didn't just happen because they didn't think about it. A lot of things go into it when you really watch that, especially if you ever watched the replays of how they do that. You see very clearly that it's executed. All of a sudden, things just happen. And then you have one player and another player completes that. And that's what we're doing with our transfer madness. We want to have the alley-oop of our students move in from KCTCS, get it in the basket, and then move to one of our four-year institutions as well. So it's an important piece for us. And so with that, I want to introduce some of our students that are intended or are transferring as well. And these are what we would call our transfer MVPs. And they'll be taking just a few minutes with what they're doing and focusing on their transfer abilities as well. I want to begin first with Elena Padilla, who is currently a student at Eastern Kentucky University. She's majoring in Spanish and checks into the game with a 3.9 GPA. She's a member of the Golden Key Club, the Spanish Honor Society, and the Alpha Phi Kappa. She's also president of the Latino Student Association. After obtaining her bachelor's degree, she hopes to go to graduate school and become a certified Spanish interpreter for the court system. Please welcome our first transfer student, Ileana. I'll transfer this to you.
Hi. Well, greetings. My name is Ileana Padilla Fiola, and I'm honored to be here and to be able to share a little bit about my path to college. Let me start by saying that I am a non-traditional student. Say that. I always wanted to go to college, but it was not available to me. My parents didn't have the money. I couldn't get loans, you know, whatever back then. They didn't have any guidance. So I went off to work in some factories, and then I did go to business school, worked in many offices for a lot of people. And one thing led to another. I moved to Kentucky, and I got married here, and my husband kept saying, you need to go back to school, you need to go back to school. And I don't know, you need to go back to school. And I always wondered, was I smart enough to go at that time? Can I go? Can I make it? Can I do well? So I went to Bluegrass Community and Technical College, and I started with one class, not knowing where it was gonna take me. I just one class, and then another class, then I kept adding on. And how did I make it there? Let's see. I made it by driving my instructors nuts. Questions after questions, always in their office. I wrote a paper and I took it to one of my instructors, and he's like, okay, let's see, look at it, check it off. Next day I was back and he's like, you again? I'm like, yeah, I want to make sure everything's right. And next thing you know, I was graduating, but not only was I graduating, but I was graduating with honors, something that I had never thought about. And again, I'm sharing this not to boast, but to say to all those that wonder if they can make it through college, yes, you can. A little at a time, you can do it, start with one class at a time, and take something you want, something you're interested in. Now, I'll never forget the day that I walked across the stage and Dr. Julian handed me my degree, and I walked off the stage. I still get emotional about it. When I walked off the stage, Mrs. Landrea Meridi, Dr. Norm Strobel, and Mrs. Erin Howard were all there waiting for me to congratulate me. And then I started crying. And then off I went to Eastern Kentucky University with the Colonel Scholarship. I chose Eastern Kentucky University because one of my professors at Bluegrass Community and Technical College suggested that it would be a great school for me and that I would do well there. Small classes and not a large or small campus. So I went there. I went to the transfer orientation, and I was nervous about, oh, another school. Why can't I get my bachelor's here? And the first person I met was Dr. Abby Poffenberger, and she's the chair of the Spanish department. I didn't know that at the time. She was so nice to me and so kind and made me feel so at ease that I was like, yes, EKU in the fall. I was so excited about it at that time. And now the professors all there have gotten to know me pretty well. I drive them crazy. I'm always bothering them about something. And just recently, one of my professors said to the class, okay, let me explain this really well again, because if Ileana doesn't get it correct 100%, she'll be upset. And not only have I taken my major at EKU, but I've also gotten to play with clay, taking ceramics classes, and now I'm in a ceramics for major classes by getting an override. So I can assure you that you can have a lot of fun studying to get your degree and just socializing and taking classes that are fun. And I am more than thankful than anyone can ever imagine to have received my AA at Bluegrass Community and Technical College. And on May 10th, 2014, I will be receiving my BA from Eastern Kentucky University. It's a great school. Come, we'll help you, and you'll have the time of your life. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ileana. I really appreciate your story and support. According to those non-traditional, I think you're non-traditional cubed. So that's right. And thank you for listening to your husband and continuing on. So we're always glad to see that as well. Next, I'd like to introduce Reagan Willis. Reagan is a biology pre-pharmacy student at Big Sandy Community and Technical College, where she serves as the current SGA president. She's a second-year honor student and Phi Theta Kappa member. Reagan plans to transfer to the University of Kentucky for a degree in pharmacy and business. Please join me in welcoming Reagan Willis. Reagan? Pass the ball to you.
Well, once again, my name is Reagan Wills. I'm a second-year student at Big Sandy and Community and Technical College in Prestonsburg. When I graduated from high school in 2012, all I could think about was getting off to the big city of Lexington and being able to call myself a Wildcat officially instead of just being a fan. Although that's what I wanted at the time, that would have been ideal, I had an even better opportunity present itself in my small hometown. After some research and financial realizations, I concluded that attending a community college for at least a year was in my best interest. I started looking into what Big Sandy had to offer me and applied at first chance. Upon entrance, I was accepted into the honors program, and within the first year, I had been elected the Student Government Association president and became a member of the board of directors, as well as the Alpha Nu Zeta Phi Theta Kappa chapter. Big Sandy has opened so many doors of opportunities for me and led me to experiences I may have never encountered otherwise. My school, along with the professors and staff members, have without a doubt helped me mature into the young woman standing before you, and also in creating the path of success for my future. After receiving my Associate of Science degree in May, I will be transferring to the University of Kentucky, where I will officially get to call myself a Wildcat. When I earn my doctorate of pharmacy and open my own business, I will look back and thank myself and KCTCS for allowing my ambitions to become reality. Thank you. Sorry.
Well, thank you, Reagan. I appreciate your story and look forward to seeing you as a Wildcat and also as a pharmacist owning your own store. So those are the ambitions that we have as well. Next in line, we have Mark Simmons. Mark is another non-traditional student. He's a husband and father who is finishing his associate in science at Bluegrass Community and Technical College as well. He plans to transfer to the University of Kentucky also in the fall in order to complete a degree in electrical engineering. He's an active member and former president of Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. His standout performance includes work on a satellite that was launched into space by the Air Force last year and a research grant that he received from NASA. Very interesting to listen to him talk about his story. I'd like to welcome Mark Simmons. Mark. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for inviting me here today. My name is Mark Simons, and I'm a student at Bluegrass Community and Technical College in Lexington, Kentucky. As a non-traditional student with 2 children, I realized that I was neither financially nor academically prepared to attend the University of Kentucky like I had hoped. That's when I found myself at BCTC. Their smaller class size, individualized attention, and genuine interest in the success of each student is what set them apart from other colleges and why I chose to enroll there. In the 2 years I spent at BCTC, I have thrived in an atmosphere of persistence, dedication, and academic excellence. BCTC has several student organizations, but the one I admire the most is our campus's Phi Theta Kappa chapter. Phi Theta Kappa is an international honor society for 2-year colleges. Through collaboration of our Phi Theta Kappa chapter and BCTC, we were able to register a record number of students on collegefish.org. Collegefish is a website designed by Phi Theta Kappa to provide students with additional tools and resources to successfully transfer to a 4-year college. My involvement with Phi Theta Kappa has opened up several opportunities that were previously unavailable to me. As a result of the leadership experience I gained from Phi Theta Kappa, I received an undergraduate research grant from NASA and an internship at the Space Systems Laboratory on UK's campus. My uninhibited devotion to Phi Theta Kappa and my campus is why I was named International Distinguished Chapter Member of Phi Theta Kappa in 2013. I am currently enrolled in the Blue Plus program, which enables BCTC students to take UK classes at the BCTC tuition rate while they are completing their associate's degree. This helps the students financially, of course, but it also helps students transition to the 4-year university. Taking just 1 or 2 classes at UK while still attending BCTC has allowed me to adjust to UK at my own pace and prepare for my future there. Phi Theta Kappa, Collegefish, Blue Plus, these are only a few of the many ways BCTC has demonstrated their passion for higher education and devotion to the success of each and every student. This is my last semester at BCTC, but when I transfer to UK next fall, it will be with the confidence and knowledge obtained from my local community college. Thank you.
Well, thank you again. Another great story of what our students do and how they're planning on transferring. And the quality that I mentioned earlier is so important, and you can see it woven throughout each of these students as well. Our last transfer MVP is Ebenezer Yankee. Ebenezer is a pre-med student at Henderson Community College. Ebenezer comes to our team all the way from Ghana and is a student at the Job Corps in Morganfield, Kentucky. He is currently the student president in the HCC Multicultural Alliance. His stats include an impressive 4.0 GPA and is a prospective member of Phi Theta Kappa. Ebenezer is still weighing his 4-year options and plans to continue his education with a bachelor's degree and eventually on to medical school to achieve his dream of becoming a neurosurgeon. Congratulations and welcome, Ebenezer. Ebenezer.
Thank you very much. My name is Ebenezer Yankee. I am a biology major at Henderson Community College, a student at the LC Clement Job Corps, and I desire to be a neurosurgeon 15 years from now. Born in the poor, mosquito-infested section of Ghana, West Africa, if anybody had asked me if I would be here today and address an audience such as this and be on the dean's list, I would have answered, no way. But here I stand now. So first and foremost, I would want to say a big thank you to the American people, to the LC Clement Job Corps, to Governor Bashir, to Dr. McCall, to KCTCS, and to my school, Henderson Community College, for giving me an opportunity to work on my dream to become a neurosurgeon and hope toward a brighter future. I would also want to say a big thank you to my English professor, Professor Bill Gary, for helping me speak, read, and write English. Professor Rebecca Wells, Mrs. Rebecca Emerson, Mr. Bill Dixon, Ms. Susie Thurman, and my college president, Dr. Christine Williams, for keeping me sane and grounded with my eye fixed on my goal. As I look forward to graduating in 2015 with my associate in science degree and then transfer to a four-year university which has a pre-med program, the March transfer madness could not have arrived at a better time. I have waited patiently for this chance to simultaneously interact with and find out about as many schools as possible. So now, to the dreamers out there who happen to listen to me now or stumble on this video later, I may not know what you're facing now, but I'm certain of one thing about you. You've got something special. You've got greatness in you. I would like to remind you today that it is possible. Like Will Smith once said, that greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, godlike feature that only the special among us will ever taste. It is something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe in, and I'm willing to die for it. Period. We are all born to be great. There is no room for mediocrity. The March Madness is on. Let's go get it. Thank you very much.
Well, Ileana and Regan and Mark and Ebenezer, you are what bring all of us together. And Governor and Lieutenant Governor and Senator, if there is any doubt in your mind about why the resources that you devote to higher education need to be devoted, because there are today 250,000 students enrolled at our institutions, having the same kinds of life-changing and life-directing experiences that you heard from our MVPs here. So thank you all so much for being here. Let me remind you again, it is March the 5th is the date. As I'm looking out, I have those cheerleaders who were supposed to come up before I got up here, but we'll have you close us out. But let me finish with this. MarchMadness.org. Go register because it will give you access to every one of our public institutions and 15 of our private and independent colleges. Cheerleaders, come on up and cheer us out.
Transfer.